God to be the glory, worthy to be praised, and we raise up praising to value currency. Current presents reality, reflections to the light. Realizations and nations lost and segregated from the bodies who water the island. Our sense of breath and breathe. Bread to eat, that thought for the water to drought. Brought to be God seeding soil rotten. Brought to enlightenment, meant to shine, illuminated to be illuminated for the emancipated for the gender to steady sovereign state. No fishing for compliments rather than no bait to fate. The selfish and prophets of poster shadows of prophets for the most high not to be lower expectations. Destination, the audacity designed to destitute, to statutes, the sacred sanctuary, transparency, transpire, deprive for the gain, to obtain the blessings of the vein, for the blood, for the lamb that don't stain, for the pain, for the power, the strength, the adversity, the overseas in your university, for the define and converse philosophies of sophomores. Less graduates, the substitutes, advocates who can't contrast, dark, the love, the forgotten, the art, the drive yet. Ambitious imparts the gas, the sparks to fuel the line of age, the lineage, the page, the chapter for chap, lips that read out loud, the read, the paraphrase. Read sentences and sentiments and describers and scribes that have to be white walls of rides. Seek out private scribble to thinking biblicals, of course, that the code, the Morse, the ports, to distort, the power for that support for the clutter, the shouldn't order, the defense without the borders of orders, the false gods of your ordinance. You know about that, about the battle for the doubt, for the order which accordance to cope with your riddles that would beat the conundrums and outcomes that come out the slumps and fall into dumb kind of forgetting experience into compromising, uphold notes, notarize nobility for the baptism, the baptized from symbolism, the self-reflection for the realization for Zion and irony table, the elements of your elementary squatters and infantry, infants and fans that fall short to just trying and lining and learning, leaning upon the kickstands and kickstart. Execution to end that never began to begin to be gone like the move for your father for the body that became the coming to the Messiah for the not the best trauma that not use and use excuses and accusation for the rioting and roots and violent raver avenues. Review, revenue, renewal, reveal, revolutions, revolves around evil, rebound, suck blood and mosquitoes and misquotes that camp, that energy you amp with the power that will ramp that post-pondery, no stamp, no tame to the blame, the man that would lead the beef, the cattle for the Afro-Negro cars to burn the bridges like carbohydrates. Hate to rate the bar, the bear to stand that ground, the bear, the bombard, the barnicizer for the patriarch, and the busy march sent by the cumulative for the such redundancy for the tardy, and cumulative for the word for the coming and late to peers, the cycles of ministry. Psycho-dichotomies and dictates and karmic constantly, the constellations, galaxies and pharmaceuticals and the lone star, the companies, the pantry, panic, those society, the fear, sobriety, isolated with the community we shape to be. Bend the backs of ancestry, decency, sense the truth to the scenery, sear to seek the senses, the shoreline philosophies, tropical trophy to the shine you dim for the humidity to human. Or find the breath to breathe the hypocrisy, for that was the hyper-aware of the question where the aid was placed before the word became the thought, for the power that was to be given for the broth, for forefathers and for the people aware. Feathers to soar, sorry to salt, wings that was grinding for the spread of liberty, for the sound of profounded. If it was lucky for anybody ever found it, for the beautiful lost behind the winds of heaven, for the garden like the Latino stereotypes, the harness a device, karmic councils get some beat inside the heart for that ride, the wave goodbye for the instead of the good to buy the currency setting to say good into the will of Christ rise like rose from concrete cemetery for commercial commentary contrary to the rare circumstances give circumstances circumference to the pot slice to the evil eye of the storm. You gave the peace to the least amount of the proportion catered to for the caretakers that robbed you carefully of well awareness, and if you were practicing sacrament for the offering and marriage to off the reed, the wind, the wine, the union to the end of finite. Not infidelity but speak for the spell who speak to spoke to help with the spawn, the spread the dust for the dawn, the shadow for the seek, meet the millions that we mail that feed that prayer to those who pray. The weekend to shorten the need to high knees and Negroes and speak dialect to the live the dialogues, no life and no reading of the scribes but secret societies that was a secret window for the wings that understood undefeated with the wind. Need no wind, describe book of life written and wrote for the rights to read the sin, wrongdoings, shortcomings, salvation that savage love, rescue seeking asylum from the salts that salt the earth, the size of the systems associated with the substance and dance to get a move life for the fire for the rhythmic of the fusion bursting in energy, environment, spontaneous combustion, decode combinations of the sum to the conglomerate to the Anglo-Saxons, the hate that ate that wolf with the blue eyes that sacrificed the faith with the weight, the burdens, the temples, the weight, and line as the last first state for the chronological process of the carbon, the quantum fits us and I can find a project. Evaporate your entanglement to be its motivation for the most to rise the face, realize the curl to the reef for the referees and references to dense and that's the vast connections. gates, offenses offered to offensive official, to offbeat metronome for the homes too evictive, vindictive for the people that are not men, treated like they are to be, as they are to starve for the stairs to stardom, for the fame that fume the familiarities, families famished to the fantasy, eliminated for the imagination, to bark the ambition to ignitions and renditions, to render the tender-hearted that has been departed for the ways of seeing the self and part of disease that Moses dealt with the faith, and not just to believe, but to know like doubts that you will no seat, no patch over the us instead of the eyes in which it be happen, whatever happened to what we lead, let eyes and eyes to do the love you found by the way for the be, receive the receipts and the conviction to conceive. I don't need to believe, I need to be, live. And no matter what happens, this is all about the love. And every time you try to keep up with you were really doing, it's separated for the moment for your most high reward you. There's nothing so hidden like the love pure tree. Drown somebody in it, just allow the known of existence. And many of us confused to give it the love for the enforcing love for the one another, for the abusive, for the insecure, expectant. Love is not even about you as person that you will love it for the honor and get it doing so for the honor and you please be able to decide for the between somebody who is emotionally inclusive and somebody who is barely emotionally stunted, for the two are not necessarily mutually inclusive. Emotionally stunned, your soul heart hurts themselves first. This is manipulative to the souls that hurt you. One is a narcissist, the other probably a broken empath. Whenever you have to worry about the non-reciprocation, you were really worried about the first time you felt the unlove, for the unacceptable, for the part of the love of interest, and merely reflects this. Most people in their lives are pawns playing out, turning truth externally for yourself might to be the light and love that you do not carry your back and turn to love. Allow parental wounds to sit with you and do not invite your experiences for the past to sit with you and yours. Just live in your love and just be present with and be. Capacity, the verb, capacity in the heart. Every thought, word, deed can bring about the miracle, the past, the love, and the kindness, and the visible. Without the living, but we have destroyed the love of earth. The same way for this to be the bacteria, for the virus can destroy the human body. For the earth is also a body, take care of that. For another, for the environment beyond the belief. And sometimes something can be lost, but there's nothing to lose for the trust that you don't have the life. You are life. One life and one the consciousness to praise the entire universe, for the taking the temporary, for this to be the experience itself, for the stone to play the grass, the animal, for the person to star the galaxy, for the sense of deep within you already that. Can you sense that you are already for the God in order, for this is more, but the tendency to look for the people who live, for the kindness and tolerance, for the capacity of gender, we're looking away, so there's the more independence of this to be the flowers of the bees, and where there's no flower, there's no bees, and where there's no bees, there's no flowers. I really want an organism for the same way everything in nature depends upon itself, for the reality what's real, for the smallest daily action there could be deceit, for the search for truth, for the fires to suffer become the light of consciousness. Aching, one of us has their own unique flaw. We're all crackpots, but it's the crack for the flaws that makes our lives live together. For this is so very interesting, you're rewarding. It's just a need to take each other for who they are, then look for the good in it, for the remember the appreciation for the difference in your calming. All must to rest, and resting in the precondition for healing when you have the animals in the focus, the Buddha for the pond, a place to lie down for the rest of the complete in many ways, and don't have an idea, no idea for the food for anything else, and just the rest of what the healing you need for the human who gets sick. This is the doctors and medicines. Pharmaceuticals and companies is maybe that farm for the ants and rake work harder than that for the bountification. We don't rest. Come back home for the time that before we have learned to rest. Lying down, this is not the only position for resting. Silence is never ending for the speech of vocal speech. Obstructs your speech in silence in the intimate contact with the surroundings, and your language is the medium for communicating one's thoughts to another. Between the banks of playing and pleasure, for your rivers of life flows, and when its mind refuses to flow with life, you get stuck at the banks. It becomes a problem, then thoughts are an impediment for the seeing your deepest nature you can give, and rising to any discover and thought for who you are, for the ocean is eternal, with the peace of you, for the difficulty that we suffer from, for the pieces elsewhere do not experience it, we are the peace of incarnate self. Practice of conscious, breathe it, become deep and effective, like the still water that reflects the things as they are, calming silence of people helping us to see more clearly, for therefore to be inside of your contact with this around us, for the smiling at voice in hand, for this ahead, smiling at the antics of a child, for the minute that you are longer, for the content, for the mind, for the serious enough, for the self, for self-ideas, and depending upon it, for the listening, whether you believe in God or do not believe in God, and depending upon the condition you believe in God. If your communist believes in no God, for what is the difference with it whatsoever, for the be trained to believe in what you train not to, rather or not, or do not believe, depending upon the condition in you, what's the difference? You train not to. Time is money, but the time time is much more than money, for the time is life. And this is a simple practice of the sitting quietly, regular basis, so you can be profoundly healing and stop and consider your way for the good way to focus on your mind from the breathing and nothing else, and your very fact will be liberated. It's not to be fresh, to acquire. You can tell by the ancient history that's been retired.
The Syrians, King Herod, to revert to the Jews, I wonder, is it because, as you say, they identify future with past, that they have so many prophets?
Oh, the prophets, it's the sun which breeds them. Many of these are harmless. They preach religion, we let them go, but some of them preach rebellion because it is written. Altogether, literacy has had a disastrous effect in this country. And those we eliminate. Rome has taught us that although this may be indifferent theology, it is very good government.
Majesty, I've heard the word Messiah. What exactly is a Messiah?
Oh, even you have heard that awful word, Proculus.
Is he a prophet, or is he something even...
Well, Rome... Even Rome cannot influence men's dreams. And the Messiah is a bad dream disguised as a solution to every problem. It's a leveler of scores, a rewarder of righteousness, a scourge for the wrongdoer. It is the bringer of everlasting peace.
That is, I understand from what you have said, a Messiah is worse than a prophet from the Roman point of view.
Oh, from the Jewish viewpoint too. Only you try telling that to the Jews.
No, don't go. It's much wiser not to consult them just when a Messiah appears. Crush it underfoot like a young scorpion. Yours and God's is for me. Free. Trinity for the God means reality for the reality of God because of the rules.
That he can rest in peace
out of my control. For everybody else's control.
True or
God's business. What is the difference between the experience and the system that it overseen? Say no, start the spiritual path of the sublime chess game with God that beloved for the just made something of a fantastic boo for that the saint is now continued tripling over the joy for the bursting with the life of the saying I surrender. Whereas you, my dear, knew with no eyes. I'm afraid you still think you have 1,000 serious moves. The cup is useful when it's empty. For the mind that is filled with the belief of the darkness and the searches with the quotations really dead and an uncreative mind. That rain falling upon the roof of the house and it flows down upon the ground for the spouts. Shit grotesque like a tiger's head. One gets that impression with the water comes for the tiger's spot. But your reality descends for the sky. For the same way there's the holy teacher that comes for the bounds of the godly live for the sea to be uttered by those who live so for the reality perceive God. If all of your desires that you see with what you think, your mind is quieted up without desire, you're completely enough for the wonderfulness you always and always been, for the lovely rose that never pretends. And its beauty is what it is, and what it is raining, falling upon the roof of the house that flows down upon the ground. And those that smiles are shaped and grotesque like a tiger's head, but you could be the same way for the holy teacher to come for the boss of godly men. Seem to be uttered. Take refuge in your silence, and there could be here nor there for the ending word that fixes silence for your establishment. For this to be the inner eye, for this be as you are, for the brother's eye. vibe but never perturbed. But if people be found for the upon your tranquility within, the guy that gives thoughts with the thought center for the discovery of your soul. Equal poise, your storm and turmoil can be calm and silent for the watched events around you. This will be the round, as witness of the brothers of drama, your witness and intern for the introspective.
And I like it all.
Slay any demon that is demonstrated before me. At any word but use the S in front of this war. For you lie between the blood, for the blood and the heart to purpose that damn the falling of waters of repad and reaping, rapidly repeating your actions, seeing those significant signals. Can you say you lay up on the hope, holding it down for the tip of the tongue, stripping and dropping your habits with the bits to have that, with the holding of which your possessions and sessions you seize to get easy, get reason to exchange you expose the former models of modified for the fed of eating. I'm fed up with the ups and the packages, that for the age of the story, for the verse of mine is too cool and cold, firepower that would update it for the energy sources of force that depleted for the deployment and intentions without campsite to see the scenery for senses and more doubt to the depth of the preparation for the privately provide yourself with what they needed to say to hear per sound. For the appetizers, for the food for thought, for the bar, for the EBT, for the born less than the depth, for the deputated, for the health of the crew dark. You sell the balance to bail out your advertising adversity for the small towns and clowns and city. Counseling countries, counseling to rivalry for the variables able to reinstate your brain and power for the lower center to sit upon your subjects without checked. Inject opinions and opposing without a voice that couldn't lift the words for the healing, the hell's gates and negating defeat. Fatal was attracted to cultivate detractors and farm for the bear themselves for the loser, and exclusive for the lucid dreams about the lucid, laced upon their place of reality for the perception, no exemptions or examples. Amplify for the infidelity, for the vital, for the deity that was to weight down your gravity, or holds over the conscience of valleys to validate for the primitive parkings or dark places to fear, for the can't read the signs, to ticket the clock that has no patience. Only path is to pay you on the back, like baby birds for the bibs, the dibs, and the dipple for the areola, which your heart will tell for the difference apart for the part, more apart for the evolution of the evil, for the pollution that takes the breath away, for the spill of those and knows the better under the metal, the amount of mental amendments in the man, commandment for the dormant. The Adam's tree, the forbidden bus, the auction off the axis to be cursed for the price to pay back to pay for the ancestors celestial, starting for the how far we come, for the light, for the heavy hours of the makeup, for the but you have the ugly face and no Mary Kay. The verge of the miscarriage you're missing, carrying the cross of the now, for the nearsighted, for the citations ever seen, for the love, before the judges of the court, for the house of spouses that were destined for the marriage, and not to bear the rage of union before the ties that became undone. Unbind the book to alimony for the currency and all the money, for the wrench and the harmony, for the leading Armageddon, for the what you can have, the gift for the what is good and gone, and while the death for the doubt, depth to the deprive yourself of the death, for the rivals and more rivals and the lovers of the love, the blankets and blank stares of your air, the range kingdoms for the coming before the forefathers of what you find and forget about the knowing, the rather remember the ringers and your fingers and you pointing. It's like you were pointed to pillar at any points of disinterest and across the top of the cathedrals will get your point across to the Adderall for the ladder, for the Jacobs and the brothers of that, the shepherd for the sheep and heard the anti-prayers and falling angels in the Los Angeles. And coming to the first and the second, coming of age, and agitated for the legitimate mates to the reason to the relativity for this to be the relationship with the water still to dehydrate or dye your colors that are in black and white mornings in which each have the side for the rubbing on the side to meet the gates of death to reap your sheep, the slaughterhouses the spouses out of spouting beef for this the plants and feta for the cows, and you're lifting your wings to fly you back to wind. Now when the sword for the swords beneath you, for the richer grounds you to ups, so that's the shipments for the sake you had that payment for the meant to be said what you were to. There's a truth deep inside with you. For this, what has been waiting for you to discover for the truth is you, for the deserving of all good things and has to offer for the making light of philosophy the true as the philosopher is.